Colorado's oil and gas industry under a lot of scrutiny recently. We've had two deadly explosions over the past couple of months, including the explosion of this tank near Meade that killed a worker. And that explosion wasn't long after the blast, April 17th, that killed two people at this home in Firestone. A leak from an abandoned oil line is believed to be the blame to that. And it is the safety of those flow lines and their locations that's being questioned. And joining us to talk about the issues right now is Democratic State Representative Mike Foote. And so thank you for being here. What assurances do you have for those folks in those neighborhoods who are worried about their families, their home values, all of those issues?
Well, there are a couple things. I think the governor and the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission is working to try to make sure that they inspect those and the operators inspect the flow lines and make sure that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. So that's happening. It's happening at the state government level. It's a good thing that it is happening. I think the governor and the commission and the operators are doing what they should. Unfortunately, I don't think it answers the entire question. We have a real issue with these operations being very close to houses, being very close to schools, in the middle of neighborhoods, and that's a whole different issue. It's a much bigger issue, and it's something we need to address.
Because it certainly doesn't answer the immediate needs of those families who are worried about sending their kids to school or even just being in their home and wondering if they're safe.
Right, and it's very unfortunate. This is a whole tragic situation, and it really highlights the fact that these are dangerous industrial operations, and that's why we need to, in addition to the immediate steps that are being taken to assure safety, just look at not putting these near houses, near schools, and neighborhoods at all. I think we need to really be looking at those going forward, but in the immediate vicinity, we need to be doing what the governor is doing and what the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission is doing.
I know that you supported bills last session that addressed some of these issues, but they failed or were killed. Why do you think these did not progress? What happened?
Well, the industry didn't want them to. I mean, that's really the bottom line. The industry opposed all of the bills that we proposed. It wasn't just me, it was other representatives as well and senators. And it's unfortunate. One bill was to move these operations farther away from schools. The industry opposed that, so it got voted down. One dealt with mapping of these flow lines. That's at issue with the Firestone explosion. That's something we need to do, but the industry opposed that and it got voted down, and there have been others too.
Why can't that be shared, that information of mapping?
Well, I think it can be. That's why I ran the bill, and it happens in some other states as well. They argued against it. They wanted a different process, I think. They argue security concerns. I don't think that they're valid, but that's what they argued, and the bill didn't succeed.
Is this something you will push for again, or what do you think will come up in the next legislative session?
Well, there have been discussions in the interim to try to address some of these issues, but they've been pretty narrow towards the pipeline issue, and maybe mapping will be part of it. And I think it's important because the public should know, and local governments and home builders should know where these pipelines are. So that may happen. And if it doesn't happen, then I'm sure that we'll do something in the next legislative session. But if the industry opposes it, then we might be in the same spot as we were this year.
Well, and bottom line, this is a big industry here in Colorado. How big is this? How important is this to the state of Colorado, and where you have to balance as a lawmaker what the needs are? And
sure. Well, first of all, public safety should come first, and there shouldn't be this so-called balance that just allows for people to be involved in these tragedies. I mean, that shouldn't be an acceptable collateral part of the balance. And so we really should be putting public safety first. Pipeline mapping and other safety features are part of that. And keeping it away from neighborhoods is part of it. And a lot of other things are part of it that we really could be doing. So I'm not really sure. I think the so-called balance is really appropriate at this point. I think we need to be really focusing on public safety, and of course the extraction of minerals is something that we should consider, but we shouldn't do it at the risk of houses exploding or people dying.
Before we let you go, I have to ask you, since climate change has been a big issue, do you believe in climate change? What's your view?
Well, unfortunately, yes. It's something that we need to really be addressing on the state level, and we can. It's too bad that the science is always questioned. It's too bad that some of the interests, particularly on the federal level, are trying to put it on the back burner, but this is an issue that we need to deal with. It's very pertinent here in Colorado with our forests with our mountains, with our water. Everybody feels it. Everybody will be feeling the effects of it as it continues to get worse.
Representative Mike Foote, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you talking with us. Stay with us. We meet Republican candidate for governor Victor Mitchell when we come back.